Most men think when a woman belittles them, it means she is simply rude, disrespectful, or trying to hurt them. But many times the truth is deeper. When a woman makes small comments that make you feel less than a man, laughs at your efforts, questions your confidence, compares you to other men, mocks your dreams, minimizes your opinions, or speaks to you like your presence has no weight, it is not something a man should ignore. Because belittling is never just about the words. It is about the position she is trying to place you in. Sometimes it means she has lost respect. Sometimes it means she is testing your boundaries. Sometimes it means she is carrying resentment she has not expressed directly. Sometimes it means she is trying to see whether you will defend your dignity or keep smiling just to avoid conflict. And sometimes the most painful truth is this: she may not even realize how much power you gave her until she uses that power against your self-worth. This is where many men make the wrong move. They either explode, which makes them look emotionally uncontrolled, or they stay silent in a weak way, hoping she will notice their patience and change. But a woman does not usually respect a man more because he tolerates disrespect quietly. She may feel guilty later, she may apologize, she may even say she did not mean it. But deep inside, the dynamic has already been measured. She has seen whether your self-respect has a line. She has seen whether your peace has a price. She has seen whether your desire for her is stronger than your loyalty to yourself. And this video is not about hating women, attacking women, or turning every small joke into a war. A healthy woman can joke, tease, disagree, challenge you, and still respect you. But there is a big difference between playful teasing and quiet humiliation. There is a difference between a woman who laughs with you and a woman who laughs at you. There is a difference between a woman who challenges your growth and a woman who slowly cuts down your confidence so she can feel more in control. So in this video, you will discover what it really means when a woman belittles a man. Why disrespect often starts small before it becomes normal. Why your reaction teaches her how much access she has to your dignity. Why arguing is not always the strongest response, and how a mature man handles belittling without begging, exploding, or becoming cruel. Because the moment a woman belittles you, the real question is not only why did she say that? The real question is, what did my response teach her about the man I am? Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course, it's a brotherhood. A private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. Belittling often means she is testing the strength of your boundaries. The first thing it can mean when a woman belittles a man is that she is testing the strength of his boundaries. This is where many men misunderstand the moment because they focus only on the insult and not on the dynamic behind it. She may say something small like, "You always overthink. You're not that confident." Other men would have handled this better. Or, "You act like you're important." On the surface, it may sound like a joke, a mood, or a random comment. But sometimes, especially when it repeats, she is watching how far she can go before your self-respect responds. She is not always doing it consciously. Sometimes people test boundaries without admitting they are testing them, but the result is the same. She learns whether you are a man with a line or a man who will swallow disrespect to keep access to her. This is the hidden mistake many men make. They think the strongest response is either to attack back or stay quiet. But both can weaken you if they come from insecurity. If you explode, she sees that your emotions are easy to control. If you stay silent because you are afraid to lose her, she sees that your boundaries are negotiable. A mature man does something different. He does not react like a wounded boy, and he does not tolerate disrespect like a man begging to be chosen. He responds with calm firmness. He makes it clear that disrespect is not the price he pays to keep someone close. In female psychology, a woman often feels the reality of a man's strength through his response to pressure. Not through his words, not through his image, not through how masculine he says he is, but through how he behaves when she crosses a line. If he becomes unstable, she may lose respect. If he becomes passive, she may push further. But if he stays calm and sets the boundary clearly, she feels that his dignity is not available for games. For example, if she says, "You're not really a man if you can't handle that." The weak man argues for 20 minutes trying to prove himself. The passive man laughs awkwardly and hides the pain. The grounded man looks at her calmly and says, "Don't speak to me like that. We can talk with respect or we can stop this conversation. That is not aggression. That is self-respect." And when a man responds that way, he teaches her something important. He teaches her that his love may be warm, but his dignity is not for sale. Section 2. It can mean respect has been quietly declining before the words appeared. The second thing it can mean when a woman belittles a man is that respect has been quietly declining before the words ever appeared. This is important because disrespect rarely begins with one dramatic moment. Most of the time, it starts small. It starts in tone, in little dismissive comments, in subtle comparisons, in impatience, in the way she stops caring how her words land, in the way she rolls her eyes, interrupts you, speaks over you, or acts like your presence is no longer something she values. By the time open belittling appears, the emotional shift often started much earlier. And many men miss it because they keep focusing on love, attraction, or history, while ignoring the deeper truth that respect is the structure holding all of it together. This is where many men make a painful mistake. They think if a woman still talks to them, still stays around, still laughs sometimes, or still says she cares, then the connection is fine. But a woman can still be emotionally present in some ways while quietly losing respect in others. She may still want attention, comfort, or companionship, but her tone begins to change because somewhere inside she no longer sees you as solid. Maybe you became too available. Maybe you abandoned your standards. Maybe you kept forgiving behavior that slowly lowered your position in her mind. Maybe resentment built up from unresolved problems. Or maybe she simply discovered that she can speak to you carelessly and you will still stay. In female psychology, respect and attraction are deeply connected. When a woman feels that a man has no inner line, that his need for peace is stronger than his self-respect, or that he will tolerate too much just to avoid tension, something begins to shift. She may not say, "I lost respect for you," but her behavior starts saying it for her. That is why belittling matters. It is not just about one mean sentence. It is often a symptom of a deeper imbalance that has already been growing. For example, maybe she starts by making jokes about your ambition, your confidence, or your decisions. At first, you ignore it. Then it becomes sharper. Then she starts comparing you to other men. Then your opinions start getting dismissed, like they carry no weight. The words got stronger. But the real problem began earlier, when disrespect was allowed to grow without consequence. That is why a mature man does not only react to the final insult. He pays attention to the pattern, because once respect starts quietly dying, belittling is often not the beginning of the problem. It is the evidence that the problem has already been there. Section 3. Sometimes belittling is her way of gaining emotional control over you. The third thing it can mean when a woman belittles a man is that she may be trying to gain emotional control over him. This does not always happen in an obvious way. She may not scream. She may not directly say, "I want power over you." Sometimes control begins with small comments that make a man question himself. She laughs at his confidence. She mocks his decisions. She makes him feel childish when he speaks up. She questions his masculinity when he sets a boundary. She makes jokes about his weaknesses, then says, "Relax, I was only joking." When he reacts, and slowly, if he is not careful, he starts adjusting himself around her words. He starts speaking less. He starts explaining more. He starts asking himself, "Am I overreacting?" Instead of asking, "Why am I allowing someone to speak to me like this?" This is the hidden danger of belittling. It does not only hurt your feelings. It can train you to seek approval from the same person who is lowering your confidence. When a man keeps trying to prove he is smart enough, strong enough, masculine enough, successful enough, or worthy enough after being belittled, he gives the other person emotional authority over his self-image. And once a woman realizes her words can make him chase validation, defend himself, or lose emotional balance, the dynamic can become unhealthy very quickly. In female psychology, respect often grows when a man is emotionally steady under pressure. But if belittling makes him collapse, beg, over-explain, or become desperate to repair her opinion of him, she may feel that his center is outside of himself. That weakens attraction and gives her too much control over his emotional state. A mature man does not let anyone become the judge of his worth. He listens if criticism is honest, but he rejects disrespect when it is designed to shrink him. For example, if she says, "You're not as confident as you think," the insecure man spends the whole night proving he is confident. The angry man insults her back. The grounded man stays calm and says, "You can disagree with me, but don't try to reduce me. Speak clearly or don't speak like that." That response does not ask for approval. It protects his position, because the moment you start begging someone to see your value, you give them power over it. And a man who understands this never lets belittling become the language that controls him. Section 4. It can reveal resentment. She has not communicated directly. The fourth thing it can mean when a woman belittles a man is that she may be carrying resentment she has not communicated directly. This is one of the most dangerous forms of disrespect because it does not always appear as one clear conversation. It leaks out slowly. It comes through sarcasm, cold jokes, sharp comments, dismissive reactions, and little attacks that seem random but are actually connected to something deeper. Maybe she is angry about something from the past. Maybe she feels unheard. Maybe she expected more from you and never said it clearly. Maybe she has been comparing the relationship in her mind for a long time. Or maybe she has built a story about you that she now uses to justify speaking to you with less respect. Whatever the reason, when resentment is not expressed maturely, it often comes out as belittling. This is where many men get confused because they treat every disrespectful comment as if it is only about that moment. She says, "You never do anything right," and he argues about the specific thing. She says, "You always act like you know everything," and he starts defending his tone. She says, "Other men are more serious than you," and he tries to prove his ambition. But the real issue may not be the surface comment. The real issue may be a deeper emotional buildup that has not been handled. A mature man does not ignore the words, but he also listens for what may be underneath them. However, this does not mean he accepts disrespect just because she is hurt. That is the mistake many men make. They think if a woman is upset, then her disrespect becomes understandable. And if it is understandable, then it must be tolerated. No. Pain can explain behavior, but it does not excuse humiliation. A woman can be frustrated without belittling you. She can be disappointed without attacking your manhood. She can express unmet needs without making you feel small. For example, if she says, "You're useless," sometimes the weak man apologizes for everything just to calm her down. The angry man insults her back. The grounded man says, "If something is bothering you, say it clearly, but don't reduce me to get your point across." That response opens space for truth, but closes the door to disrespect because resentment needs communication. But belittling is not communication. It is pain without maturity, and a man with self-respect knows the difference. Section 5. If you laugh it off every time, you train her to repeat it. The fifth thing it can mean when a woman belittles a man is that the disrespect has been repeated because he kept laughing it off. This is one of the hardest truths for men to accept because many men think ignoring small disrespect makes them look mature. They tell themselves it's not worth arguing about. They laugh when the joke hurts. They smile when the comment crosses a line. They act calm when deep inside they feel disrespected. And at first this may look peaceful. It may look like patience. It may look like emotional control. But if a man keeps accepting small humiliations just to avoid tension, he is not always protecting peace. Sometimes he is teaching the other person that his dignity has no consequence. This is where the mistake becomes dangerous. A woman may make one belittling comment and watch how you respond. If you laugh nervously, change the subject, or pretend it did not affect you, she may think the line is not real. Then the next comment becomes sharper. Then the jokes become more personal. Then the disrespect becomes normal inside the dynamic. Not because you deserved it, but because you allowed the pattern to survive without correction. People often repeat what they are allowed to repeat, and when a man never calmly corrects disrespect, he creates a relationship where his silence becomes permission. Now, this does not mean you must react to every small joke like an enemy. A mature man knows the difference between playful teasing and belittling. Playful teasing makes both people smile. Belittling makes one person feel smaller. Playful teasing creates connection. Belittling creates hierarchy. Playful teasing respects the person behind the joke. Belittling attacks the person and hides behind the excuse of humor. A man who understands this does not become sensitive over everything, but he also does not let someone use "I was joking" as a shield for disrespect. Snorts. For example, if she says in front of people, "Don't ask him," he never knows what he's doing. The weak man laughs because he does not want to look insecure. The angry man embarrasses her back, but the grounded man stays calm and says, "Careful, joke with me, not against me." That sentence is short, controlled, and powerful. It does not create drama, but it marks the line. Because if you laugh every time someone makes you small, they may eventually forget you are a man with boundaries, and a man who values himself does not need to be loud. He just needs to make disrespect uncomfortable enough that it cannot become normal. Section 6. A mature man corrects the pattern without begging for respect. The sixth thing a woman belittling a man can reveal is whether he knows how to correct a pattern without begging for respect. This is where many men lose their power because the moment they feel disrespected, they either become emotional prosecutors or quiet prisoners. One man starts explaining for 30 minutes why her words hurt him, trying to make her feel guilty enough to change. Another man says nothing, but carries resentment inside. Another man becomes cold and punishes her with distance, hoping she will figure it out. But a mature man understands that respect is not something you beg for. Respect is something you require through calm behavior, clear standards, and consistent consequences. This is the hidden difference between weakness and masculine control. A weak man pleads, "Please stop talking to me like that." A bitter man attacks back and says something cruel. A desperate man tries to convince her that he is worthy of better treatment. But a grounded man does not negotiate his dignity like it is a favor she can give him. He corrects the pattern directly without drama. He does not need to raise his voice to make the boundary felt. He simply makes it clear that if the conversation continues with disrespect, the conversation will not continue at all. In female psychology, a woman often pays attention to how a man handles correction. Does he become unstable? Does he beg? Does he lose control? Does he act like her opinion is the final measurement of his masculinity? Or does he remain steady enough to say, "This is not how we speak to each other"? That kind of response is powerful because it shows leadership without aggression. It shows emotional control without passivity. It shows that he values peace, but not at the cost of self-respect. For example, if she keeps making small comments about your ambition, your confidence, or your decisions, you do not need to deliver a long speech. You can say calmly, "I hear what you are saying, but the way you are saying it is disrespectful. Talk to me clearly, not beneath me." Then stop talking. Let the silence work. Do not over-explain the boundary after you set it. The more you explain, the more it can start sounding like permission to debate your dignity. Because a mature man does not beg a woman to respect him. He shows her that respect is the condition for staying close to him. Section 7. The strongest response is not revenge. It is removing access calmly. The seventh thing a woman belittling a man can reveal is whether he understands that the strongest response is not revenge. It is removing access calmly. This is where many men misunderstand power. They think if a woman makes them feel small, they must make her feel small back. They think they must insult harder, embarrass her, prove their value, or make her regret disrespecting them. But revenge does not restore your dignity. Most of the time, revenge only proves that her words got under your skin. It shows that she found the button, pressed it, and you gave her the reaction. A mature man does not need to win a disrespectful exchange. He understands that the real win is refusing to participate in a dynamic that lowers him. This is the hidden power many men never learn. When someone repeatedly belittles you, your presence becomes the reward they still have access to. Your attention, your time, your emotional energy, your explanations, your forgiveness, your willingness to stay close, all of that is access. And if a woman keeps using that access to reduce you, mock you, dismiss you, or speak to you without care, then the mature response is not to keep arguing about respect. The mature response is to remove the privilege of your closeness, not with anger, not with a dramatic announcement, not with punishment, but with calm distance that says, I will not keep standing where my dignity is treated like a joke. In female psychology, access matters because it reveals how much a man values himself. If he keeps staying close after repeated disrespect, she may not feel the seriousness of his boundary. But when he calmly steps back, stops over-explaining, stops rewarding the behavior with attention, and refuses to continue the same cycle, the dynamic changes. She may reflect, she may test harder, she may apologize, or she may show you that disrespect was part of who she really is. Either way, your clarity improves. For example, if she keeps belittling you after you already corrected it, you do not need to deliver another speech. You can say, I already told you I do not accept being spoken to like that. I'm going to step away now. Then actually step away. No begging, no insults, no emotional performance, because the strongest man is not the one who destroys her back. It is the one who calmly removes himself from any place where his self-respect is not safe. So when a woman belittles a man, do not look only at the sentence she used. Look at the dynamic behind it. Sometimes it means she is testing the strength of your boundaries. Sometimes it means respect has been quietly declining before the words became obvious. Sometimes it is an attempt to gain emotional control over your confidence. Sometimes it reveals hidden resentment that was never communicated maturely. And sometimes the painful truth is that the disrespect kept growing because you laughed it off too many times, hoping patience would fix what only a boundary could correct. But the answer is not to become cruel. It is not to insult her back. It is not to hate women, play revenge games, or turn every disagreement into a battle for dominance. A mature man understands the difference between a woman who is joking with him and a woman who is slowly speaking beneath him. He understands the difference between healthy criticism and quiet humiliation. He understands that love without respect becomes emotional weakness. And staying close to someone who keeps reducing you is not loyalty. It is self-abandonment. The strongest man is not the one who reacts the loudest. It is the one who stays calm enough to see the pattern clearly. He does not beg to be respected. He does not over-explain his worth. He does not try to prove his masculinity to a woman who is already speaking to him like he has none. He simply corrects the moment with firmness, watches what happens next, and if the behavior continues, he removes access without drama. Because when a woman belittles you, your response teaches her something. It teaches her whether your dignity can be negotiated. It teaches her whether your love makes you weak. It teaches her whether your desire for connection is stronger than your self-respect. And once a man understands this, he stops trying to win disrespectful conversations. He starts protecting the position he should never have abandoned. So remember this, a woman can disagree with you and still respect you. She can be frustrated and still speak with care. She can challenge you and still honor your dignity. But when her words are designed to shrink you, mock you, shame you, or make you feel less like a man, that is not love speaking. That is a boundary calling your name. And the man who answers that call calmly becomes dangerous in the best way. Not because he becomes aggressive, but because he becomes impossible to belittle twice. Comment below, what is the strongest response when someone belittles you? Silence, correction, walking away, or removing access? And if this gave you clarity, subscribe for more deep lessons on female psychology, emotional control, self-respect, boundaries, and becoming the kind of man who never lets love cost him his dignity.